All right. All right. It's time. It is time. Time to do what you want me to do. So let's do a random theme today. I think that's a good option today. Hey, Dr. Sheldon Atsky, how's it going? I must say, you guys really enjoyed doing the life drawing yesterday, or the anatomy. Hey, Captain Bowson Gjorko, what up? I think that's quite interesting to see how many of you joined in. I think a lot of you got like a challenge out of it, which was really cool to see. And I think you definitely were challenged, and I think also some of you had realizations and walking away with new knowledge. It's great to see. I enjoyed seeing that fact that even though like it was like a wake-up call of sorts, it was great. And a part of me wants to do more out of these anatomy drawings, maybe even take them further, the ones I did. Asking Dr. Sheldon, yeah, it's definitely a good thing to know, and if you go into details as well of all that knowledge, because it is a fundamental thing, and with anatomy and foreshortening and depth cues and so on, like if you don't think about it, if you cheat, it shows. And I think that's the beauty of it. Like I could spot, I mean, I could go into detail and break everything down on each of your art, but it's like the major things that are the big issue. Like that's always my practice method is like find the biggest flaw, remove it, and then find the next one. Anyway, how's it going? So give me some suggestions, some topics. Let's go. Let's quick. Some topics. What should I draw? Give me something to go with. Insect Princess. Alright. Insect Princess. Let's go straight up. Atsuki is the winner. Atsuki was first. Today I went with first come first, first served. Is that how you say it? Let's go with Atsuki's default winner. Because it's already 10 past. That's why I jumped. I sped it up a bit. Insect Princess. Alright. Let's go Insect Princess. Okay. It's gonna be a weird one. What I kind of saw was, this is a really weird one, but let's go with it. I kind of saw, like, it's really weird. I saw her being gracious, but having a big bulbous butt. However, those two will go together, and like a big strange insect crown. So however that's let's go. We can't go back now. Now we're doing the big princess butt bug. Oh, that's perfect. Let's go. That butt. Oh shit. Hey Quentin, how's it going? yeah. So back to the topic of anatomy and learning. Like I could, one thing I noticed with anatomy and doing anatomy studies is when you learn something new, you can spot it, and you take a shortcut. Like how to explain it? With knowledge come understanding, right? And when you don't understand something, you simulate it because you've seen it being described that way. Like a way to explain it is, imagine like the structure. Let's take an example, right? Let's take the structure of a bicep and how the bicep connects underneath the shoulder muscle. The shoulder muscle is overlapped on top of the bicep, right? The bicep isn't going all the way on here, because here's the connection point of the shoulder muscles, right? And the bicep is connects in there, and it connects underneath in the armpit up here. There's the like bicep connection, right? That's why when you do when you do the muscle, like the line goes like that in underneath. That's why you get that V shape as well underneath. and when you understand that part, the next time you draw a bicep, you go, oh yeah, it can't just be this thing. It can't just be this bean on the arm. The bicep has to go in underneath the shoulder muscle. The shoulder muscle connects in a certain way by the collarbone, and you know, when you understand these parts, you go, oh yeah, of course. And then because you understand that part, when for example you're doing a shoulder, you know that there needs to be a simulation of that fact here, like it's connecting and creates this kind of a shelf on the chest muscle, that you have to simulate it by making a brush mark or a line or these things. But when you don't know it, you're just going to make like a shape kind of in the place where the arm is or where the bicep are. And when you do that kind of faking the knowledge, when you as an observer have the knowledge, you can see that, okay, that artist does not know how joints work, or how the shape of a joint, for example, or the shape of a bicep, or all these things, because they don't know it, they simulate the knowledge. Hey, Bun88, how's it going? Avoid breakfast, how's it going? And I think that's the difference with someone who understands when they're painting figures versus someone who's just done the motions and practiced the moves rather than knowing the moves. And that's one of the reasons, for example, why I try always to find where I'm failing. And it's hard to know where you're failing if you don't understand it, right? That's a little bit of a conundrum. Like, how do I get good at, or how do I spot my mistakes if I don't know I'm making the mistakes? So that's where like someone else's input comes into play, and it can help you spark a train of thought that helps you realize where you're making mistakes. Or if you have the ability to put, let's say, ego aside, or like the symbolic thinking aside, where you can just look at your art neutrally and go, oh, okay, I'm messing up the proportions, or you know. Voodoo breakfast. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. In a way, yeah. One thing, what is always important, which a lot of people don't talk about when you're doing art, is to congratulate yourself on when you're doing something good. Like praising yourself, like, yeah, I'm good at posing, or I'm great at posing, I suck at anatomy. Like I can knock out a great pose, but when it comes to the itty bitty details, I'm struggling, or the other way around. Like I know where the muscles are, but I suck at dynamic posing. And I don't think we pat ourselves on the back enough. Like, where's the time where, when you were a kid, you walked up with a painting to show your mom and like, hey, look, I painted this, and they go, wow, and we already, like this is, I really nailed the sunshine, or yeah, so that it's really important that you also congratulate yourself and pick out and know where your strengths are and what you're happy doing or what you nailed. Like you said, you also have to know what you did good in order to know where you failed. But I mean, how many of you on a daily basis goes, like, you lean back and go, that's cool, like, I'm happy with this. And if you don't do that, maybe you do need to do that, Are you doing it enough? Maybe you're not doing it enough, and maybe there's a chance that you might only look at the struggle rather than the journey, where you're actually succeeding in overcoming certain obstacles. But if you never appreciate the fact that you are, cute. It's gonna be a shitty ride. You're still gonna get there in the end if you don't quit. But you know. Captain Boast. That's a beautiful realization. Okay, so Georg, if I ever used a 3D model, I did. But the reason why I don't do that too much, there's more than one reason. If it's an artist's rendition, you are looking at their lack of knowledge. If you're using a 3D scan and looking at references, I mean, this is more of a general statement rather than the 3D scan per se. But not every person is the same. And just because you're scanned as a 3D object doesn't mean you're proportionally accurate. Maybe you're having some flaws in your anatomy or proportions, and yet people are studying you. So in general, that's why, for example, when you're doing life drawing and there's good models, there's more than one reason why they're good, right? One of the reasons is because they have beautiful proportions. Another reason is that they can hold the pose really long. Another reason is that they have great definition, so that you can see the shapes better. And any place that has live models, they should take these things in consideration. And I guess that differentiates like random life drawing versus like a well-oiled machine show. Hey, Bruno Romanos. Bruno Romanos. And another reason why I don't use 3D models generally is because my thinking is quite 3D already. Like I paint like I'm sculpting in clay, I have no issues whatsoever of rotating objects in 3D space in my mind. So if I look at a drawing and I don't know what the other side looks like, I can easily figure it out by just kind of mapping it in my mind. But that being said, having a 3D model that you can rotate and look and rotate and look and rotate and look, instead of like standing in front of a human and rocking back and forth like a madman, that's highly advantageous. And so if you're bad at 3D thinking, if you're bad at understanding form, looking at a 3D model that you can rotate and scale and move around is really, really good. So if you have the chance of knowing where there is an archive with 3D scanned people, let's say in a Sketchfab environment, which is web-based 3D model viewer with just a plugin, I would say go and do some studies with that, because it is really, really useful to be able to see a 3D form and then be able to pan or rotate and understand that there is a continuation of the form. Because if you draw that, it's easy that you draw a two-dimensional form rather than understanding the 3D aspect of it. Hey, Rick, how's it going? Ricky, a kangaroo? That's a good one. Hey, shit, Chunky Gaming. How's it going, man? Look at that. For everyone who don't know, Chunky Gaming is a really funny streamer. He plays a lot of shooter games, and he's a really good player. Usually in like shooter games with ranking, he's at the top. So it's really enjoyable to watch while working. So if you guys want to watch someone with a lot of attitude shitting on people with the shooters, that's the guy. Make sure to follow. He's a great player, very skilled, really laid back, good fun. Chunky, yeah, this is a random topic from one of the people in the chat, and it was from Atski, and Atski said Insect Princess. So I'm drawing somewhat of an insect princess. I'm halfway through of my 30 minutes. So I know you know I stream, but maybe you don't know the specifics. So I usually ask for a random topic, and then I start a timer, and I only stream for half an hour. So I am 15 minutes in of my half an hour, and in the insect princess design. I have no idea what I'm drawing, but I kind of had this idea of a big butt and a strange crown, so that's where I'm going for. Chunky Gaming, yeah, exactly. Because I'm doing this the first thing I do in the morning at work, so it's like a warm-up, right? And all the artists at the studio is doing the warm-up as well. And when the 30 minutes is up, I raid someone and I go by my business and start doing client work and all that, designing for real games. So it's like practice, because I'm going to have to design characters for games after the stream. So by being challenged by you guys saying, let's draw an insect queen or insect princess, it's like, all right. because a client might come and ask me, you know, draw a insect princess. And if I have zero idea of what to do, if I'm going to help a studio out with designing stuff, I need to, you know, practice my designing skill. Eric Ricky, yeah, absolutely. I don't know what kind of job I have, yeah, but what I do on a daily basis is a lot of pre-production or production designs. But production designs is more like, okay, do this concept in perspective, or design an asset, while pre-production is more, we have zero idea what it looks like, do some concepts to help us pinpoint what we want. So then I do a lot of pre-production, which is, I do that. I design a lot of things from my mind or based on their art direction. And then they go, yeah, option number 5, we like. Keep pushing that one. And then the further I push a concept, the more into production realm it goes into. But then when it's approved, then it's official in production art. And then you need to do the production concept, which is like an orthographics, breakdown, so on. But up to that point, it's pre-production, which is, you know, just explore the idea of what they want, and then when they absolutely know what they want, everyone in the food chain has signed off on the concept, then you go to production. Yeah, then safe for work life drawing, I guess it's a bit tricky. I think you need to do the research outside of office hours. So you find a good website that provides what you need, and then at office hours use that URL. Because I think like Googling around for that at office time might be a little bit tricky. Yeah, so Apex. Oh, Buddha breakfast. Thank you. Have a good meeting, and see you tomorrow morning. So Apex, well, Apex Legend, is that what it's called? It's a new game from Respawn. The makers of a game called Titanfall. Titanfall was this kind of parkour, running on walls shooter with massive robots like you could pilot, and that's where the name Titanfall comes from. It's like there's an orbital drop of this massive robot that comes down, and then you jump into it and pilot it. And they released a battle royale game. For all you who don't know, battle royale is from an old Japanese movie about a high school class called Battle Royale, where a Japanese class is set in the forest and they have to kill each other, and the last man or last teen standing survives. You know, it's like a mass murderer type thing, but they have to kill each other. And that after that fact, it became a saying of a last man standing competition, which is like a battle royale. And now what the battle royale game is that it's 100 people all spawn into the same map, and it's randomly generated and placed gear, and you have to pick the gear up, good enough gear to kill another player, which puts you one step closer to being the last man standing, and then you win. So it's the latest, more or less the most popular new game mode. Cosmoverse. I think they made a battle royale too, but this was like in the 90s. I watched the Japanese movie Battle Royale when back in the days when it was made, But I didn't. Didn't like. Oh, I need to see the sequel. But then, like, movies like Hunger Games came out, and I was like, ah, all right. They watched the Japanese version, and then it just became this genre rather than nod to the original. So the Apex Legend is this. I think it's Legend is the latest from the people making Titanfall, and it looks really cool. It's like Overwatch. If you don't know Overwatch, it's like a hero type shooter where each hero has a specific behavior. So there's like the sniper one, there's the builder one, there's the tank one, and so on and so on. So they mix, let's say, Overwatch with Battle Royale. It's a really cool mix. So if you're into shooters and Battle Royale, I would definitely play that because it's also free to play, which is crazy. And I think, I mean, being in the industry, I follow a lot of these things. And one of the really cool things about that game is that they have so many small micro customizations in gameplay. Like, oh, I want this, I want that. I don't choose this gear, I choose this weapon, I use this perk instead of that perk. And all these subtle things vary the outcome. And it's like it has this dynamic aspect to it, which is very intriguing. Plus, it's free, and the production value is really high. So, and it currently has over 2 million players for being like day 2 of release, which is crazy. And that's quite an accomplishment from that studio. And the people behind the art is some really skilled concept artists in the industry. The studio is Respawn, and there's some really good concept artists there doing some sick work. Atsuki, I did not work on Apex now. I think Jake Huang, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, I haven't worked with Respawn. Or actually, I did work with Respawn on a cancelled project, I think, before they chose to do Apex, because as far as I remember, Respawn had the issues with publishers, and they broke free of old deals. And when you're kind of in a tight spot, usually what happens is the publisher, if you're with a publisher, they get really stern on the idea, because it's more or less one last hurrah. If you don't become successful, you're gone. So usually what happens is that they make a lot of half games. It's called VSD, which is a vertical slice demo. If you think about a cake, all the layers of a cake, and you just take a piece of that cake rather than make the whole cake, because all the layers are there, you just need to make one instance, like one little section of the game with all aspects there, and that's called a vertical slice demo. And when you've done that, you can kind of shop it to the publisher, and they go, yes, that's a good idea, or you're all fired. So it's not really that bad. But the general idea is like, okay, you guys really gotta knock it out of the park. We're gonna put it up all the safety nets, but you can't faff around forever. You gotta come up with a solid, great idea with the best possible outcome. So you're not gonna go with your first idea. you're going to have to prove the idea, right? So you do 5 ideas maybe, or 3 ideas, and then they go, yeah, option number 2 is the best. I think it has the most opportunity, but let's fix this, let's change that. And then usually what happens, which is sad, but it's part of the industry, they focus group it. And what you don't know with focus group is that they put people in rooms, and then they present the idea, and then the people will write down their impressions, what they like, what they don't like. So then they get this stack of data, and then they go, all right. So the focus group consisted of 50% male in the age group 14 to 20. That's our goal, right? That those are the ones where we primarily want to sell to. They did not like the main character. They liked the idea. They liked the colors or whatever. And then you walk out of that with knowing, okay, so we want to sell this to 14 to 20-year-old males primarily. They don't like the main character. Oh shit! All right, so we need to design another male character, and because they were picky, we have to provide options. So then you fully develop, let's say, 3 characters. You know, like production art wise, you know, we can see it. There's a splash art. There's the fancy illustration. It's the breakdown. So each guy in the second round of focus group can go, oh yeah, I like hero number 2. It really speaks to me. And if there's enough men 14 to 20 saying that on option 2, option 2 is going to be the hero, right? Then you go, okay, they liked it, this direction, I guess we know what they liked about it is the attitude or whatever, and then you start developing it further. It's all these kind of, it's not, I'm just like, yeah, that's great, let's finish that. It's so many layers to it. And imagine then you are the concept artist, and you have to provide them with those ideas. You have to provide them with the options. You have to have the ability, if you're at that part of the production line, to adopt, to change, to give variation. To each variation needs to be striking at its own merit, right? So if you're gonna make a girl, is it the cute girl, the angry girl, the scary girl? But they all have to be equally good, or like the cute stylized version versus the realistic version, because they have to choose, right? Exactly, Captain Boss. You have to be able to be flexible. If you're in that part of the production line. If you're not the part of that, if you're just a concept artist more towards production art, you're not really a part of the early days. You're being a part of what's after the focus groups. They go, yeah, they like this direction. Now we got to do some more concept art. We have a direction, we have style guide, we have the pitch work. Just look at the pitch work and make the final asset. It's more like that. While my day-to-day stuff is the pre-production. So I'm more at the early stages. I help define things for them. And then they go away and come back after a year or 2 and go, all right, all the pitch work you did, this is what we did. Now we need production art. Now we need more enemies of that we decided on based on your concepts 2 years ago. Or we need a boss character based on where we've taken the idea. Then you go, all right, okay, I see where you're taking it. I see what you changed. I get the idea, the decisions you've made. All right, let's make some boss characters. And then you start doing boss characters or whatever they ask for. So it's a little bit different, different skill sets, and those are it's important to understand. But then to get to that point, You need to be good at anatomy, colors, you name it. All of the above. And that's where studying comes in, practicing, but practicing more than one thing, right? Or if you just really want to be good at cars, there's nothing wrong with that as well. Being really good at drawing cars, you know, I can do a car, but I'm not like, fucking, wow, that car drawing is amazing. Captain Bose, yeah, they do. They don't want you to guess. If they don't put it in, they can't say no to it, right? So they have to consider the spaces in between the words. You know, it's your job as well to figure that out. They want a hero, or they want a hero with these things, or they just go, I want a hero. Then you go, okay, they want a hero. What does their world look like? World. Oh, the world they have thought about is this, all right? Okay, so who can be in there? Okay, then you give them options. But usually what that happens is many rounds of exploring. Goblin Enthusiast, yes, I will end the stream right now. Let's see who to raid. Who should we raid? What's Hosier doing? He's kind of doing strange anatomy breakdowns. Could be a good follow-up from yesterday. Christopher Kant is painting a pretty cool demon portrait. Let's go, Christopher Kant. We haven't raided him in a while. My pleasure, my pleasure. It was a great stream, good topic. Thank you very much. As per usual, I'm gonna do the outro, then switches all over to Christopher Kant. Have a great day. Good night if you're in that part of the world. See you guys on the Discord or tomorrow morning. Have a great one, everyone. You guys are the best. Bye.